everybody? Lord Tremendous here. Got another battle report here for you. This is battle report number 17 of my Warmachine Hordes saga. This is another 50-point battle, and this is a good one because it is I, Lord Tremendous of Gunnbjorn, or the Trollbloods, however you want to see it, versus the Soul Collector of the Witch Coven of Cryx. And this is exciting for me because I've never actually fought this army before. I've seen plenty of them online. God knows I lurk on a lot of the other battle report channels and just absorb. But yeah, I've never actually faced him in a face-to-face battle. So the individual that's allowing me to borrow much of his Trollblood army has a Cryx army, and he brought it. And we didn't do a snare or anything like that. This is just a straight-up kill the caster battle. So sit back, relax, and get ready to see how many souls he collects from my poor trolls. So this game was played on a little bit of a time crunch, so I was kind of rushed a little bit. I don't know, I had a curfew. My wife told me I had to be home at a certain time, so I didn't get set up, I didn't get pictures of his army or anything like that, and I blame myself. I apologize. As you can see, I'm on the right, my opponent's on the left, and the first thing I do is, since I go first, is I activate my, what's it called, Boom Howlers, and that is a full unit of Boom Howlers. And yes, I'm still using proxies because I'm poor and I haven't bought everything yet. But they get 4 up tough, and then they just start motoring forward. Because again, this is a 100% kill your enemy type of thing. Kill the caster. There's no scenario, no real, snare points to worry about or anything like that, so I'm going in. I don't know what I'm up against, I don't know what I have to deal with, so I'm just going for it. Those next are runesmiths. Those are not sluggers. I am proxying, I apologize. But yeah, those are runesmiths, and they run into the forest. Right next to them, that is a proxy for a skinner, and again, I apologize. I will be using a lot of proxies, and you know what, I'm kind of done apologizing for it now. Next up, I run my champions, my Trollkin champions, with Scaldy up a bit, and I try to keep them in base to base for the +2 armor, which is always nice. Scaldy runs up because thanks to Tactician with the Trollkin champion hero, they have that tactics thing, so they don't have to worry about themselves, so he can charge through them, doesn't have to worry about line of sight, yada yada yada. Loves it. So they're over there watching my right flank, and then after a bit of debate, I will eventually do my battle group. As you can see, I have dropped Horgle and the Pyre Troll, which was a hard choice. I really liked Horgle, but with Gunnbjorn, I wanted 2 heavies and a light. So I have Dozer, I have a Bomber, and I have a Impaler. And I just activated Gunnbjorn, and I cast Snipe on Dozer, I believe, because he's the only one that's going to come anywhere close to being able to do anything. The plan here is cast Snipe on him, move him forward 5 inches, have him cast his Bank Shot spell on himself, and then fire and hopefully force a good deviation and cause a little bit of damage. So I move Gunny into the forest, just, mostly out of fear. I don't know what I'm facing. I don't know what he's got for ranged. I put the rock wall up there just in case. I want to give some guys cover, give guys a handful of cover, just trying it out, seeing what I can do. They've already got concealment, now they have cover. One of my Boom Howlers has cover now. It was an idea, that's all. I don't know what he can do, so I'm just all contingencies. Next up, I move Dozer, as I promised, and he casts Bank Shot on himself with the sole intention of hoping for the beautiful, beautiful deviation, because I know he's not in range. And after some careful consideration and talking it over with my opponent, I let him know what Bank Shot does, because he's not 100% familiar with Trollbloods. He bought the army, he hadn't played it in years. I fire at the crazy-looking dude, and we've got right there as the 18-inch mark, because God knows I was out of range. And I believe I re-rolled the deviation. Yeah, because of Bank Shot, it allows me to do that. 2 is much better, and then it goes 5 inches. So after the deviation, which I will show you right here, I clip a dude. So that's kind of exciting that I'm able to clip that dude. He's somewhat important. I don't remember exactly what he does, but I know if he's like around there or whatever, he can bring guys back. And since it's Dozer and Smig, it's auto-boosted blast damage. Granted, it's only a 7, but Oh gosh, the guy's armor is kind of low, 17. So it's like dice minus 10, and I'm able to do nothing, absolutely nothing, which was unfortunate. But it was a hell of a deviation, so the plan almost worked. The dice just weren't on board. Shortly after that, I activate my bomber, and he just goes for a run because cardio, cardio, cardio. And, I want to generate a couple more fury, or another fury. And then same thing with my impaler. I just kind of activate him, and I was just trying to get him in position. Nothing overly intelligent or mind-blowing. I just wanted to get him in a better position, so he takes a nice little run, generates another Fury, which will make Gunnbjorn go up to full next turn, and that's it for my turn 1. So my opponent starts off his turn by activating that mercenary unit up there. I don't remember what they are, but they have like bows and arrows. I think there might be some sort of elf. And they have Pathfinder, so they just go running into the woods. That's really it there. Shortly after that, he activates his, what's it called? Warcaster, and they cast Ghost Walk on the scary-looking Jack on the left there. It makes it so that he basically has Pathfinder, I think. I'm not 100% on that one. But he cast Oculation, I believe, on the big scary Jack with the big claws or everything. No idea what that does. No idea. Sorry, if you're looking for tips and tricks, go find a different battle reporter because I still don't know enough about these guys. He is able to meet all the range on those because he has an arc node Jack in the middle there, in the middle of the two of them right over there, which is well within their range of like 18 inches. So yeah, the Witch's Coven is something else, let me tell you. Next, they cast a little mist spell, a little AoE 4, it looks like, spell of mists. Very misty, it is, a little circle o' mists. I guess it's just to provide cover, it's like a fog effect or whatever. And then, after looking around at the board, he decides to move his Warcasters over into the corner. And I gotta be honest, I saw an opportunity there. I thought I should be able to get my champions with the hero and Scaldy around that forest through the little pathetic unit of archers, hopefully, and then get a hold, if just with one guy of the Warcasters, and maybe end this game quick. So that's where my mind is now, to the point where I barely recognize the fact that he moved his little Warcaster or Warjack into the forest. He had Ghost Walk, so he didn't have to worry about like difficult terrain or anything like that. So we got him in there, no problem. And then the little dude right there, I think he's some sort of mechanic or something. Maybe not a mechanic, but something that helps him out, and he followed with. Next up is the mechanic. He gets bounced around a little bit, but yeah, that's where he moves. And next, the big guy moves into the mists, probably because now I can't shoot at him, or I can't hit him anyway. And that's a little frustrating, but smart. I can't fault my opponent for being intelligent, especially after he saw what I did with Bank Shot last turn. And then his little escort dude, I honestly don't know what the little guy does. I think it's some sort of like soul token collector that he can put on him, but whatever. And then the guy with the little mechanic guy follows, and then the arc node runs up front with the rest of them. Next up, I think he's going to move his big infantry unit, and this infantry unit is neat. I know I'm probably telling people things they already know, but hey, it's my report, and I'll babble if I want to. But yes, he moves all those guys, and the neat thing about them is if that special guy, the character that I hit but I didn't do any damage to, he can bring guys back, or when he kills a living model, he brings them back as part of his unit or something crazy like that. I had no idea. I had seen it, but I didn't realize I was facing, the man, the myth, the legend of a unit at the time. So yeah, really threw me off, but it was still kind of neat. And yeah, that's what that unit is. Why he's shifting him over slightly to the right, I don't understand, but the way I saw it was that's a huge brick of infantry, and if my boom howlers can just hold them over there for the game, then they are well worth their effort, because I believe that with my battle group of trolls, my champions, and Gunnbjorn with the Skinner and the Runesmiths, hopefully I can hold them off. But yep, that's my plan. I'm going to go after him, and as you can see, it is now my turn 2. So, like I said, the first thing I do is I activate my trolls or my champions anyway, my trolls, and I start moving them over to the edge of the table there. I want to get around the forest, even if I have to sacrifice 2 or 3 of them in order to do it. I really just need to get one into his warcasters in the back there, and I've got them. My champions are badass enough that I'm pretty sure with 2 attacks they can start dropping them. And if he tries to move him away or whatever, I'll happily take a free strike. You know, Weapon Master and Mat 7 or whatever is amazing. So they start moving over there. I also bring the Trollkin champion hero solo along with him to keep him in, formation for the tactics. And just because, hey, if I can get in there and shoot across and slam into that warcasting, this game can be over very quick. So I activate Dozer and Smig, and I move them up there 5 inches. Yay for them. And I cast Bank Shot on them once again. I have Snipe on him still. I upkept it, so I'm going to just put it right down his throat. I fire at his little Arc Node Warbeast, and I know I'm going to be short, but the idea is to deviate favorably, because I'd like to do a little bit of damage to them. It's kind of nice. With Bank Shot up, I get to re-roll the direction. It was going to go to the 3, but it ends up going to the 2, about 4 inches, which is very nice. Not perfect, but better. So the shot ends up hitting that little guy that's been creeping after one of his warjacks. I don't remember what he does, but his armor is only like a 12, so with dice -5, I'm able to do 7 points of damage to it. And that's more than enough to gack him, which is absolutely outstanding. Not bad for a miss, huh? Next up, I activate my bomber, and I just move him up closer to the water. I want him to push. I want him to be able to move up and push to whatever threatens my Trollkin champions next turn. I figure he's seeing him trying to get around the forest, and he's going to try to stop that. Who wouldn't? And I want the bombers to be able to counter either charge or just throw those 2 beautiful POW 16 caskets into the little 1 wound guys and just murder everything. Maybe even a jack. I'd be fine with that. The Impaler runs up next to the bomber just to, again, contest that area, put a little bit more pressure on the flank there. Next up, I activate Gunnbjorn, and I realized putting him in the forest was a really stupid idea, but I'm able to shimmy him out of it a little bit to get in range, and after checking his control, I cast Rock Wall, and after a little bit of debate, I put it up in front of those guys there to give them cover. Again, I don't know what kind of shooting I'm looking at against this guy. I don't know anything about Cryx at all, but I'm worried about getting shot at, so I put the cover up there to protect my beasts. Next up, the Runesmiths, they just kind of tow out of the forest. They're just kind of hold on to it for the concealment a little bit. But the idea is, the idea there is to get them into countering positioning. That was really about it. And then I move the Skinner over because I want him closer to the Boom Howlers, because I want to keep my enemy's infantry, all that garbage over there. And the Skinner's got Weapon Master, so he might be able to take a few of them down, but I'm also willing to sacrifice him. If he runs up and does a whole bunch of stuff to kill off my Skinner, then my Boom Howlers can counter and take him out. So that was really the idea, and that's going to be it for the end of my turn 2. So my opponent starts off, and honestly, he doesn't give out much focus at all. I think he puts 1 on the guy in the shades. He does spend 1 to upkeep that spell, and that's really it. Next up, he's gonna move that little creepy dude. I don't know what he does at all, but he runs him away, and then he moves a little mechanic up into base to base with the bigger guy, the bigger warjack or whatever. And again, I don't know what he does. I think he's the character jack. I'm not 100% on that. And next he starts moving those infantry in the forest, and I knew it was coming. So that's a good sign. In my opinion, though, it shows that my opponent is concerned about me pushing towards his warcasters. So it made me wonder what he was going to do with his warcaster. So after he moved everybody in the forest there, he starts shooting at my champions, and he does a bunch of combined range attacks, and I have this rule that I'd never heard of called Hunter, which apparently means they ignore the forest completely, so that whole 3 inches, it doesn't matter. So they start firing into my champions, and I believe the first one does 6 points of damage. He's rolling pretty high. It was like dice -5, but he does 6 points of damage to the first one, 1 point of damage to the second one, and then 4 points of damage to the third, but that's it. Which, I gotta be honest with you, I was thrilled with that, because I fully expected these guys to do a ton more damage. I figured I was going to lose models. Honestly, they can shoot all they want. My guys are going to skip around and go after those Warcasters as fast as they can. So he activates his little Arc Node dude, who goes for a long run. He takes his happy butt way over to the trees, because now he's realizing what I'm going to do, I think. And then he activates his Warcasters group, and he tries to cast Stygian's Abyss or something like that at my champions, and is just out of range. Out of range by about an inch. So, yeah, throws away the focus, but doesn't do anything else. I think he might have been a little frustrated. You know, not that he was being rude or nothing, as you can see, but he moves his engineer up, and then I think he was getting ready to move the little guy, but he had already moved him, so that's why you saw the measuring. Not a big deal. So next up, he's moving his infantry on close flank there, and they just move into position. They didn't charge, they didn't do any weird shooting thing, there was no crazy spells. They just moved up and kind of waited for me to do something, and to be perfectly honest, that was perfectly fine. I wanted them out of this game for the entire game, and this is playing perfectly into my hands. So during my maintenance phase, I don't upkeep the wall, I don't upkeep the wall, and Bank Shop comes off of Dozer. I gobble up the Fury and put it onto Gunnbjorn, because he deserves it. -1, of course, the upkeep snipe. And that's really it. My maintenance phase is low maintenance, which is kind of nice. So starting off strong, I activate Gunnbjorn, and I cast Guided Fire. The idea there is, because I know I'm going to be throwing and shooting and stuff, I want them to have 3 dice, and I don't want to have to... I want to be able to boost their damage, not their to hit, without overloading Gunnbjorn, because Fury management's still a thing. After that, I activate Dozer and I move him up. And here's where I kind of come into a little bit of an internal debate. I really don't want him to shift his infantry over, but at the same time, I don't want him to, I don't want to commit my Boom Howlers yet. There's no reason to, you know, the longer they're there, the better. So I decide to fire a shot into them with Dozer. Just the hope is to cause a little bit of damage and maybe deter him from running over there, maybe going into the Boom Howlers. And they have stealth. I didn't know that. So they end up getting a little bit of a deviation. I hit right there, so I hit a few of them. It's not terrible. So yeah, I end up hitting 3 of them, and with boosted, it's like dice -8, but you know, it's Dozer and Smith, so all their blast damage is boosted. So I end up killing all 3 of the guys that I hit. I'm rolling hot, what can I tell you? And it was funny too, because my opponent had never played with Dozer and Smith, didn't know anything about him, and didn't realize a lot of this stuff. And it was after I killed these 3 guys that, yeah, he kind of confessed his undying hatred for Dozer and Smith, which I totally understand. I also realized, we figured it out later in the game, those guys should have gotten tough checks, and my opponent forgot. We're both relatively new. I had no idea. And so, yes, good catch if you saw it, but yeah, our bad. Next up, I activate my Impaler, who puts, snipe on the bomber, using his Animus. And then, just to get him out of the way, I move him over by the champions. Again, I don't know what I have to deal with over there, but I want the Impaler to be able to counter whatever might come up. It'd be great to be able to knock somebody back with his big spike thing. Next up, the bomber kind of bobbles on the edge there for a minute, but I move him up, and with snipe, I'm going to throw at that Jack in the forest. I want to cause some serious damage to this guy. And with snipe, I'm just in range. And I start throwing. And with guided, I'm throwing 3 dice at him. So even though he's in the forest and he has all the other little jacked up things, I have a reasonable chance to hit him. I only needed a 10 to hit, and with 3 dice, nailed it, which was glorious. With the AoE 4, he measures it, you'll see it in a second, and I end up hitting one of those little archer bastards, and of course the guy I hit. So, not terrible. I boost the damage against the Jack, and I believe it's dice -2. I ended up doing 10 points of damage to column 5, which was outstanding for the first shot. Blast damage on the little infantry guy at POW 8, I obliterate him into the next universe, which is outstanding. I buy the second attack against the Warjack, because why in your right mind wouldn't you? And it's already boosted to hit because of guided fire. I need a 10, and I hit him directly in the face, and I boost damage. His armor went up by 1 because I killed the living model within, inches of him. So it's now dice -3, and I end up doing 5 points of damage to column 5 once again, which isn't terrible. 15 points of damage and 2 volleys is not as bad as it could have been, but and not as terrible as it could have been. So I'm very, very pleased with the bomber. Very. With all the softening up done, I send in my champions. He did get just close enough that I could charge some of the guys that weren't in the forest. I know it's hard to see, I'm sorry. In the future, I'll take the trees down so that they're not in the way. It's bad enough that they're on the far end of the table there. But they all, I think 2 of them get in, and the rest just get the run order and they go into the forest, because might as well, right? Scaldy runs over to the side there, close to the table edge, and I do make a mistake. I charge as well with the Troll Champion Hero. He's not actually part of the unit, I forgot, and so I move him as well. It is out of sequence, and I apologize. So I start my swinging away at the little archer dudes. Apparently there's some sort of mercenary group. I think I've mentioned that already. But I swing at the first guy, needing an 8, because their defense is 1.5 million. And if I hit, they're dead with charge and weapon master and the fact that they're being hit by a truck. Yeah, they don't have the fortitude to deal with that. So I have overtake thanks to Scaldy. And so I do, and unfortunately the next 3 attacks, the next attack from that guy missed, and the other 2 guys, the other 2 attacks from the other guy who made it in the combat completely miss. He doesn't roll higher than a 5, so relatively unwowing. But if I can just clear these guys, I'm hoping to be able to destroy it and get a hold of his Warcaster, maybe even lull him into a false sense of confidence. Also, I'm hoping that he moves something so that Scaldy can countercharge, because with Tactician and everything, as long as I can get past everything, I can countercharge, and that would be huge. Next up, my proxied Rune Shapers start moving up, and I put them in the water and everything like that. I just kind of move them up. And here's the idea. I don't know how tough this Warjack is, but I need to find out. He's hiding in this cloud of shadow and shame, so there's really nothing else I can do. I need him to come out. If he's too tough, I'll knock him down, especially if he goes into the water. I will use the Rune Shaper's ability to knock him down with Tremor 3 times, and once he's knocked down in the water, he will shut down. So that's why I moved them up there. And then, as you can see, I moved my Skinner, he's also proxied, into that crazy group right there, with the intent of just holding him there. The Boom Howlers then move just a little bit. They get their 4 up tough, because why wouldn't I give them that? And they just scoot up a little bit to countercharge or whatever, and that's it for my turn. Nothing more. So during his maintenance phase, he doesn't upkeep anything as far as I can tell. He drops the cloud of shame and whatever else was on him, some sort of stealth or whatever. And that's it. He does divvy out a focus to each of them, I believe, and that's really it for his maintenance phase. Nothing else. After checking what the defense of my champions were, he decides to activate his little archer unit there, and they start moving up to engage him in combat. I mean, he's in, right? He might as well. It's not a terrible idea. So they get in there, and oof, the swinging begins. So he finishes moving up his little archers and everything like that, and I countercharge with Scaldy with one of the last guys. With Tactician, I don't have to worry about line of sight or anything like that. I just can't, end up anything. So I'm all excited. I'm like, cool, I'm going to be able to snipe one of these guys, take him out, no problem. And I miss. Damn it, Scaldy! But at least he's engaged now? I don't know. That sucked. So the archer guys, they're not terrible in combat with Weapon Master and everything, which I didn't realize. They only needed 6 to hit me. The first one is able to hit my guy no problem. He does like 7 points of damage to him, forcing the tough check. But he was tough. So that was really awesome. And then the next guy that charged him hit automatically because, he was tough, but now he's on his butt. So the second guy attacks, and he hits no problem, because he only needed a 6. Oh, I'm sorry, he hits automatically, and he rolls an amazing amount of damage, which is enough to put him into the other world, which is sad. He was not tough. I cried. So the next guy, he hits, and he does a tremendous amount of damage as well, if you don't mind me saying so. And I end up having to take a tough check, and he makes it. So not bad. My guys are making their tough checks 66% so far, so I'm very pleased with that. That's why they're champions, right? So another guy's on his butt, and then the rest of his guys attack, and he either fails to hit or fails to wound. It's amazing. So I lose 1 troll on this counter charge. I was pleasantly surprised that his dice were on my team. So he moves up the little Arc Node guy next. I don't know what he is, little light, like super light Warjack guy, to go bite one of my Trollkin champions in the face, and he does. He hits me no problem. He boosts the hit, and so he was able to bite me in the face all day. Only needed like a 6. And then since it's armor piercing and everything like that, it's dice +2, and he rolls boxcars. So he rips out the guy's rib cage and shows him his own heart before he dies. He kills him horrendously. And ouch! I didn't know the little guy was so good in combat. So next is, fresh off a victory, I guess, his little mechanic guy runs into base to base with the Jack in the forest and passes his repair skill check and ends up repairing 4 points of damage off the guy in the forest. And I knew that was coming. I knew the mechanic was going to run over there and try to fix the guy. He's been, hounding him like a magnet this whole time. But I'm not pleased. Not pleased about it at all. And so now the mechanic has to die. So now the moment you've all been waiting for, he activates the little Jackie dude in the forest and takes a pot shot at my bomber. Probably because of all the love he got from him last time. He's still carrying 11 points of damage, I mean, he healed up enough that I'm sure everything is fine now, but yeah. So he boosts to hit. I believe he needs a 6 in order to hit me, and he hits. He hits all day, no problem. He doesn't boost damage or anything like that, but it's only, I think it's dice -4 or something like that. And he ends up doing 1 point of damage to Spiral 2. Here's where the real special ability kicks in. Apparently, when he hits and wounds you, he can drag you all the way over to him. He's got like a harpoon hand or something. So he pulls my poor bomber over there, and then he claws at him with his other shot and misses, luckily. He needs a 6, he rolled a 5. Oh man, I wasn't expecting that at all. But then, not to miss any tricks, the big scary Jack charges my bomber. I'm gonna lose a buddy, or he's gonna get thrashed really good, one of the two. Oh, well played by my opponent. So, bitey, Terry, clawy, lovey guy immediately starts attacking my what's it called? My bomber, which, it makes a lot of sense. He just charged him. He needs a 4 to hit me, and the funny part is the first attack misses, he rolls snake eyes. It's like, yay! See? Yeah, he rolls snakes. It's amazing. So, his second attack hits all day. It's straight dice because it's like POW 18 or PNS 18. It's straight dice, right? Well, for the second time in this particular combat, it's amazing. He rolls boxcars. Same dice. Snake Eyes to hit the first attack and then makes up with it with a boxcar straight dice roll for damage to column 5. And it was insane. So his horns, he attacks with the horns and he hits, barely, but he hits. It's dice -3, and he rolls a 3! Oh, it's okay though. He makes up for it. He buys an attack with the last focus he has on the guy, and is able to hit no problem, and he ends up doing 9 points of damage to Spiral 3 for a total of 21 damage done to my bomber in 1 round of attack. And that was with missing or failing to hit with half of his attacks. That thing, I should have gave it way more attention way earlier. So next up, he moves the other little mechanic over to the where his Warjacks are, because, yeah, that's where the combat's going to happen. It's smart to move him over there. And then he moves that little wispy guy, I don't know, a little creepy looking demon guy. He just kind of runs into the forest, goes in there for some extra protection. Again, I think he gives him soul tokens or something. I'm just not 100% on what that thing does. I don't even know what it's called. I'm sure it's something clever. Then he checks his control area just before he activates his Warcaster, the Coven, the Witch Coven thing. And yeah, he's going to throw a bunch of spells at my poor Trollkin. So he starts casting Stygian Abyss or whatever at my Trollkin champion hero, not the actual unit, just the hero, which isn't a bad choice at all because he's the one that's going to try to get a hold of those ladies. And he boosts to hit the first one, and he does. He hits all day. And then it's like POW 12, so it's dice -4. He casts the spell 3 times, he hits 3 times, and each time he hits, he rolls so poorly he only does 2 damage each time for a total of 6, which isn't even enough to force the tough check, which is quite impressive, actually. His dice are really on my team during this game. It's unfortunate for my opponent, but huge for me. And while my hero is hurt, he's not dead yet. He's not even taking tough checks yet, so that's awesome. So next up, he activates that character in his infantry and moves him up to my Skinner, and that guy is absolutely terrifying. Well, I mean, in fairness, the Skinner really isn't for this type of combat. It was a sacrifice play, but yeah, he has no problem hitting him. Prior to this, by the way, before I forget, he did curse my unit of Boom Howlers for what it's worth. But yeah, he what's it called? He ends up doing like 15 points of damage to my poor Skinner, forcing the tough check like 6 times, I don't even know. And unfortunately, my Skinner dies a horrible death. My opponent does introduce me to a neat little trick that this guy can do as well. Now that my Skinner is dead, he comes back as one of the little infantry bastards. Again, I'm not overly concerned because the Boom Howlers have already decided to nobly sacrifice themselves to this infantry, but that sucks that the Skinner got turned like that. What a traitor. After that, his infantry charges in, and they get a hold of us the best they can. But again, this is kind of part of this is what was expected in my opinion. So that's where they all end up, as you can see. And the only guy that can attack hits and wounds the Boom Howler on the bottom there, but he makes his tough check, and it's no problem. I just kind of forget to put the token down. But other than that, that's it for his turn, and it is up to me now to try to remedy these mistakes that I've been making. Alrighty, so in my maintenance phase, I gobble up all the Fury. Well, you know, almost all the Fury. There is one left on the Impaler. And I need a threshold check on him, and I think I need an 8 or less in order to have him not go crazy, and he just barely makes it. I roll an 8 exactly, so he's good to go at least. He's got 1 Fury on him, but what can you do? And I don't upkeep anything. Snipe comes off because there's no reason anymore. Everything's close enough. And that's really it. My maintenance phase is a little drama with the Impaler, but other than that, I'm good to go. So I activate my champions, and they start beating down this infantry unit of his, little archer one in the forest. And long story short, I end up killing about 5 of them, which isn't bad considering I needed 8s for most of these guys in order to hit. Once I hit, though, it was impossible for me to not wound him. And so, yeah, I end up killing, I believe, 5 of him, 5 of those guys. He does take a command check, and he passes it, no problem. Actually, it was pretty close, but yeah, he passed it. But the beautiful thing about all this is that by killing enough of these guys, I opened up a lane for my champion to charge his Arc Node little baby jack thing up there at the very top of the screen. And that's really what I was going for, because I want to take that thing out so that those Witch Coven ladies don't have that little jumping off point anymore. And so far, everything's going to plan, kinda, mostly. So here's where things get just slightly nuts. So as you can see, my Troll champion hero charges the Arc Node guy, little baby warjack thing or whatever, which is outstanding. I think I need like a 5 to hit or something. It's crazy. And I do. I hit, no problem. So Weapon Master, that charge, so I'm rolling, and it's like PNS 12, so it's like dice -2. and I end up rolling 2 6s and 2 5s for a grand total of 20 damage. 20 damage to column 5. I couldn't believe it. We're both like, oh my god. So yeah, it was a insane roll, and it ends up doing just enough to kill the damn thing. My champion hero one-shots a baby jack, which is, I mean, the stars aligned. I know that was insanely lucky, but yeah, I caught it on camera. One-shotted a jack, couldn't believe it. But, you know, that's why he's a champion hero. So next up, Gunnbjorn activates, and I move him up his speed there. And the idea here is he's just going to try to kill off some guys and stay within range and stuff. Figured I'd be safe enough where I was. You'll see. I do pop his feet because I need to not have my guys get knocked down. I also don't want any shooting or anything like that. I figured why not? It's a good time to do it. I put up a wall in front of him just in case something happens. I didn't want anybody to be able to charge him or anything like that. It made me nervous. And then he fires his missiles at 2 of the little archer guys that are in the forest. I do boost a hit because they are in the forest, and I need like an 11 to hit. And lo and behold, I hit. It's glorious. It's so glorious. And I end up vaporizing the guy I directly hit, and the other guy next to him takes enough damage that he won't be in this fight anymore. So I'm able to gack 2, which is nice. And that's really it for Gunnbjorn's turn. So now I move my runesmiths, I activate them, and I get them a little bit closer to the big warjack, warbeast fight. Basically, it's 2 warjacks that are beating up my poor bomber. I move my runesmiths up. They weren't close enough to do tremor, but I was able, due to the fact that the big guy is actually closer, my runesmiths can see the mechanic behind there, and I wanted the mechanic dead. So I fire, rock hammer at him, and the first one hits. And I'm able to just obliterate him. I think I do 8 points of damage total to him, which is glorious. So he dies, and so he won't be fixing any more warjacks. And then I do hit the baby warjack or whatever he's got, the light warjack, but it was like dice minus 11, and I didn't roll boxcars, which was a shock considering how much damage I did to the last warjack. And so he's perfectly fine. It wasn't a crit, so nothing got knocked down. And the other, what's it called? The other runesmith, I do not do rock hammer with because I didn't want to take the chance of hitting my bomber or anything like that. So yeah, it was nice to kill the mechanic. I would have liked to knock stuff down, but I was nervous about hitting my bomber. So that's their turn. Now I activate my impaler and I charge, hoping that he would get close enough to help the bomber out a little bit, but after I move him I realized it's going to be short, and it was by about half an inch. So unfortunately the impaler runs up and does nothing. It was sad. So now I activate my bomber, and I don't realize it at the time, but I'm like, I'm going to regen him because I think his spirit or his mind, whichever one is, to be blocked out so you can't force him anymore. That's blocked out on the bomber. So I go to regen, and it would have been great. I would have regened like 2 or 3 points on him. And then me and my opponent look at each other, I'm like, wait, no, I can't regen. I forgot to heal him with Gunnbjorn. That's why I moved him up, and I completely forgot to heal him. So yeah, stupid me. I forgot to do that, so my bomber can't be forced. So I, after, you know, being like, well, I'm an idiot, I swing at the light jack, the smaller of the 2, and I hit with the first attack, and I do 4 points of damage to column 2, which isn't enough to do anything, but it's 4 more points of damage on him at least. And so I'm able to do that. The second attack misses, and then I have to stop using my bomber because I forgot to make him usable again. Stupid rookie mistake on my part, but I am a stupid rookie, so these are the kind of mistakes I should be making, right? So I decide to activate Dozer and Smig. I put his Animus on him, Bank Shot, and then I fire at the stealth guys, because I figure with Bank Shot I should still be able to hit a couple of them. And I'm right. I obviously, since it's stealth, it deviates. With Bank Shot, I don't re-roll the deviation direction, but the amount, so it goes from a 6 to a 1, which is huge. Yes, I'm aware that the template is the wrong direction, so is he. He figures it out, and we move it, and I end up hitting those 2 little bastards in the middle there. I do kill one. I fail to wound the other. He does forget his tough check, so I guess it all works out in the end. But yeah, I am able to kill one, so that's something, I guess. but I was just trying to soften the unit up a little bit for when my infantry go in there. I probably should have stuck to my plan and just ignored that unit to the best of my ability, leaving the boom howlers to deal with them. I don't know. It was a mistake. I should have sent my damn Dozer and Smig unit over into the right there to just start mutilating the bigger war beasts and stuff, but just wasn't thinking about it. Just wasn't. Next up, I activate my boom howlers, and they get the charge order. And after, of course, getting the 4-up tough, then they start moving in. Now that they're in, they start swinging away. Well, the last guy gets position, as you saw, and then they start swinging away. I do a combined melee attack on the first one, and I'm able to hit and kill him, which is nice. He fails his tough check, which is awesome. And then the next attack, I end up botching. I'm not able to wound, which is a shame. Actually, I think I just failed a hit. It was a bad roll. The third guy attacks the guy in the middle and is able to kill him, and the fourth guy is able to kill a guy as well. So all in all, I think I killed 3 out of the unit, which is gonna hurt next turn, especially if he starts bringing guys back. But I'm not overly upset or anything like that, because they're taking some guys out, they're pushing them back, and now he has to deal with the boom howlers, who have a 4-up top, have a 50-50 chance of just avoiding everything. So that's kind of nice. So yeah, that unit is now occupied. Now if only I could capitalize on that with the rest of my army. But with this final combat, that's it for my turn. I turn it over to my opponent. So during his maintenance phase, nothing huge or anything like that, he puts 3 focus. Well, the big Jack, he comes with 2 because both of his arms are still functioning. And then he takes 3 off of the Coven and puts them on there for a total of 5. And then the little Jack gets, I think, 4 as well. I think the little Jack has 1 automatically, and then, he had 1 earlier. And then he had, he gave him 3 from the Coven Throne for a total of 4. So I think he just wants to kill my bomber really, really bad. And then he puts 3, I think, on the little scrub-looking thing in the forest. Again, I'm not really sure what that thing does. Leaving 3 on the Witch's Coven, which I thought was interesting, to say the least. But that's really it for his maintenance phase. He didn't have anything to upkeep. He didn't have anything to worry about or anything like that. It's Warmachine, so it's not like there was a threshold check or anything. So that was pretty much it for his maintenance phase. So for his first activation, he moves his mechanic up. He tried to get him up to base, but being in the forest and stuff like that, he was just shy, unfortunately. He matches it up a few times, but coming out of the forest and then having to walk up, he just didn't have the movement to get into base with his guys. As you can see, he struggles with it a little bit, but yeah, he falls short, which is unfortunate for him, but good for me. And then he moves the little scrub-looking dude that has all the soul tokens on him, and he puts all those soul tokens on the little guy, so he's got like 7 or 8 tokens on him, which is just absolutely insane. And yeah, then he starts attacking my bomber with him. Alrighty, so his little Jack, I don't remember what it's called, starts attacking my bomber. He boosts the hit, and he hits no problem. I think he needed a 6 to hit, and he rolled like an 8 or a 9, so it was a good thing he rolled 3 at him. But yeah, he hits him all day. And then I think at dice -2, he just needs to roll an 8 in order to kill my bomber because he's just so beat up, and he rolls like a 10. And it's sad, but the bomber dies a horrible, horrible death. And since he was alive, he also gets a soul token for doing that. And it's a shame. I should have healed him, I should have regen with him, and then he should have been able to beat that little Jack into the dirt, but I played like a moron, and that's what I deserve. Next up, he starts moving his Witch's Coven around. He sees the pressure coming, so he knows he needs to move him, which is fine. I think I could still get around there at the angle that he's got him, so I'm not too concerned with his placement with them. And then they start getting ready. Well, he maneuvers them out of the triangle formation, which I thought was interesting. It's the first time I'd ever faced the Witch's Coven, so I knew the triangle formation meant something, but I thought they had to be in base with the little circle thing, but he moved them up so he could cast his spells because he doesn't have his arc node anymore. What he ends up casting is Ghost Walk on the big guy, and at the time he did it, I didn't understand why. With Ghost Walk, he can go right past my wall all day and beat on Gunnbjorn, and I had no idea what was coming, and there it is. He activates him, and he does the charge, and he gets right past the Ghost Wall. He got right past the wall. I didn't even know she could do that. So again, very well played by my opponent. What can you do? So his first attack, he boosts the hit and everything. I think he needs like a 7 or an 8 to hit. I can't remember exactly what. But he hits all day, and he does a tremendous amount of damage. At dice +2, I believe, he ends up doing 14 points of damage, and I'm not taking that on Gunnbjorn. That's crazy. So yeah, I transfer it over to the Impaler, who ends up taking 14 points of damage to Spiral 2, which brings him down to about half-life, if not a little bit less than half-life. So yeah, the Impaler is not happy with the situation right now. But that was a hell of a hit. So he does his second attack, and he boosts the hit, and he hits all day. And he ends up doing, I believe, 8 points of damage. And I just take that on Gunnbjorn. 8 points of damage. He can deal with the battle wound, the scar, and then he winds up to hit me with the skulls, or I'm sorry, his horns. So his horn attack hits all day, and then I think it's like dice -4 against my armor or whatnot, and he boosts to damage because, you know, why not? He's going for the win. And this is where the angels come down. He starts rolling poorly. He does 1 point of damage to Gunnbjorn on that one because he rolled a 5 on 3 dice, which is insane. And then he buys an attack with one of his arms, and he rolls Snake Eyes to hit. That's the 3rd time this game he's done that. The 3rd time! So yes, there are dice gods, and they've taken pity on me. Thank you, dice gods. So next up, he activates the little archer guy, the one that's left in the forest, and he's able to do 5 points of damage to one of my champions, but he's tough. So he just falls down on his ass. He gets a little embarrassed, but he survives, which means he's going to get up and punch that thing right in the face next turn. That's one of the things I love about the Trollbloods. Everything's tough, so it's really hard to kill me. Next up, he gives the charge order to his big beastie guy, and he goes in, and yeah, now it's time for the Boom Howlers to weather some love. So yeah, his big bad guy, he runs up, he charges, and then he does Thresher, which is painful. He ends up hitting 3 of my guys and 1 of his. He attacks his guy first, and he obliterates him, but he's tough. So he gets his tough check, and he makes it. So he just gets knocked down, which is not ideal, but that's fine. This whole unit is just supposed to be a big, speed bump anyway. And then he attacks the poor guy he charged, and that guy's gonna get oof. So now he starts swinging away. The guy that he charged, he actually fails the hit, which was remarkable. And then the next 2 guys, he hits, and he is able to wound both of them. But I'm tough on the first one all day, so he just sits down, which is kind of funny to me. And the next guy, he hits all day, and he's able to wound, and he is also tough, because Boom Howlers are tough on a 4-up. It's glorious. So, yeah, this is working out exactly as I had hoped. My guys, while they are taking a beating, they're not dying, they're just getting knocked down. And now he activates the rest of the unit, who charge and run and stuff like that. Most of them charge. I think only 1 actually has to run. So now he starts, after he gets everybody in line there. The guy in the back, I honestly don't remember why he left him back there. I don't know if he forgot about him or if he's leaving him back there for a reason. But yeah, we ignore him. He sits over there. So he starts swinging away at the bottom guy first, and it's like dice -5, but he rolls infinity, and the guy is dead. There's no being tough sometimes. The next guy who stood up, who was tough earlier, he doesn't hit at all, which is perfect. And then, yeah, the rest of them start attacking. He hits all day with the massive amount of dice. He wounds, and the guy is tough. I roll a 6, so he falls down on his butt. he starts swinging with his second attack. We forget that he auto hits, and I just roll it, and sure enough, I mean, my opponent forgot he auto hits, so I rolled the tough check, and he died. So I lost another guy, but that's all part of the plan. This is just supposed to be a big speed bump. Keeps a really dangerous unit out of the game, and that's what the Boom Howlers are for. They're supposed to do stuff like this. So he attacks another guy, and he hits. I think it was one of the guys on the ground. We keep forgetting. And yeah, I lose a third guy, and yeah, he's, well, you know, at least he's not knocked down anymore. He's just sleeping. But that was really it. I lost 3 guys, which honestly, all things considered, it should have been a lot worse, and it wasn't. I made some good tough checks, and that unit is doing exactly what it should do, and that is the end of his turn. So during my maintenance phase, I gobble up all the fury that was left on my 2 trolls. Poor guys. And I don't upkeep anything. The wall comes down and everything's done. And now I'm contemplating how I'm going to deal with the big, heavy, scary Warjack that's pretty much full health, that's beating on Gunnbjorn. And I have an idea. So here's where I think I'm being all clever and stuff. I was actually pretty proud of my plan. As you can see, I activate Dozer and Smig, and I force him to do a double-handed throw on the big guy. The idea here is to pick him up and throw him into the shallow water there, and once he's knocked down in the water, his core goes out, because that is a huge screaming flaw in all Warjacks. So I boost the hit, and I barely hit. I needed an 8, and I rolled a 9, so I'm glad I threw 3. And then we do our strength off, my 2d6 to his 1d6. I end up rolling like a 9, so it's like 21 altogether. Compared to his, I think it was like a 13. I think he rolls like a 3. I don't remember. But I win. And I attempt to throw him into the water there, and it's not a target, so it deviates. It's not like I'm aiming for anything. And he ends up deviating to the 2, like an inch and a half. So he's hitting the water. He gets knocked down into the water. And after some rule verification and a lot of discussion, we realize, yeah, my plan was good. And I call that the Ray-Ban maneuver now, because if it wasn't for playing against the Gatormen who drop the water and then throw you in it and stuff like that, back when I was playing Signar, I never would have thought of that. So, yeah, with a simple 2-handed throw, I took a Mega Jack out of the game, and I was very proud of myself here because Gunnbjorn was on his way out otherwise. So, awesome. Okay, so not to be outdone, now that the Big Jack is not beating on Gunnbjorn anymore, I activate Gunnbjorn. And the first thing I do is I back him up a little bit because I realized I had brought him way too close to the action. I put a rock wall up again for the same reason I did before. The idea is if anything can get through, it can't stop in the wall. So even if he does cast Ghost Walk on something and charges Gunnbjorn again, hopefully the wall still blocks because they can't stop in the wall. I'm hoping anyway. But I have plans for the big robot thing. I shoot at him with Gunnbjorn and I boost the hit, and my whole entire hope and praying thing for this is that I crit so that I knock the guy back and down. I've also angled him in such a way that I hope he will hit those 2 little guys behind him and do some damage to them. Maybe not kill him, but definitely do some damage. So I rolled a hit, and dice gods be good, I actually crit. Pair of 3s and a 6, I think. So that was absolutely outstanding. So I knock him back 3 inches, which is huge. Because that's enough to hit both of those little guys. And correct me in the comment section if I'm wrong. When you hit a guy, when you're being thrown back, what's it called? In a straight line or whatever, when you land, you hit the 2 guys or whatever, or you don't stop when you hit a base size that's smaller than yours. I think that's right. That's the way we played it. And I end up doing a POW 14 hit to the actual Jack. I believe it's dice -6. and I am doing 5 points of damage to column 5, which is enough to box his movement, which is very, very nice. So even if he does get up, it's not like he's going to be running or charging after me. And I also hit his mechanic and the little dude that gives out soul tokens. They both take a POW 10 hit because I think that's right too. It's the strength of the individual they were hit by. I end up doing a total of 9 points or something like that to the mechanic, and he dies, which is outstanding. And then the little guy, I think I do 6 points of damage to, and he dies as well. So Gunnbjorn pulls off the hat trick. He crits, nails the mechanic and the soul token dude, killing both of them, and knocks the guy down while boxing his movement. That was probably one of the best shots in the entire game. And tooting my own horn or not, that was absolutely outstanding. Alright, so now I'm going to activate my Impaler, because I'm very pleased with how everything's been going this turn. I move him up to block a little bit, give him, the closest target usually is the one that's targeted. So I move him up just so that they have something to, pew-pew at or charge or whatever sick stuff he's going to do. And I was going to shoot at the Coven throwing people, but I know they have stealth, or I thought they had stealth anyway, so I was worried he was gonna miss, so I just threw his spear at the guy in the forest. I figure with his defense currently at a 9, I shouldn't have a problem hitting. I do boost a hit just in case. And I think I need a 4 to hit, and I am able to hit him with relative ease because, I'm throwing 3 friggin' dice at it. And I do crit, but I don't believe I can slam a model that's knocked down. I'm not 100% on what the rules are for that. Again, in the comment section, if you know anything, let me know. But I boost the damage, and I end up I roll a 7 on 3 dice. It was dice minus 7, so I actually don't do anything but generate some fury on him. So I guess it's something. Next up, my runesmiths start moving up, and they are going to try to hit these ladies and either knock them down or straight out kill them. I don't care if they have stealth or not. I think the one guy is close enough. It turns out since they're far enough away from the little circle thing, they don't have stealth anymore. But I figured it didn't matter either way because even if they did have stealth, my deviations still give me a solid chance to doing, a POW 7 hit on them, which is something. Anything I can do to start hurting them. But, yeah, I start shooting some rock hammers at them, and I'm very excited because not only do I have range, but they're away from the thing, so they don't have stealth. So, I'm on an assassination-type mission right now. The first one misses because I need a 9. It was worth a shot, right? It deviates to the one, like, 2 inches, which is enough to clip the big orb thing in the back, which is cool. I didn't know what its armor was or anything like that. But it's only a POW 7, and I think it's like armor 17 or something silly. So it's dice minus 10, and needless to say, I don't roll anywhere close to a 10. So it just makes it look cooler. I scratch it a little bit. The second runesmith fires his rock hammer at her and hits, actually, with exactly a 9, which was awesome. It would have been better had I crit and knocked everything down, but, beggars can't be choosers. I'm still doing a POW 14 hit to her. I end up doing 7 points of damage to her, which definitely ruins her day. I think they have 8 hit points each, so I don't kill her, but she's definitely going to need a hospital after the game. And then the last guy fires, and he just he misses. The POW 7 hit on the thing couldn't hurt him even with her boxcars. And the last guy fires, he misses, and he deviates on top of the knockdown jack, which he can't hurt with a POW 7, does nothing. And all in all, not a wasted turn for them. They did do a significant amount of damage to one of the ladies, but, with the way this turn's been going, I guess I really shouldn't complain. Things have been going really well for the Trollbloods. So next up, my troll champion hero charges the one witch that's still in base to base with the little orb thing. With reach, he's got her. I was like an inch and a half away from her, maybe a little bit further, but I had 2 inches. I need an 8 to hit her because she's still a really high defense. I roll boxcars, so, I hit. Weapon Master that charged at PNS 11. I end up doing a total of 25 points of damage before her armor. I don't remember how much is taken away, but she gets gacked all day. And the hero has definitely been the MVP of this game, let me tell you. Next up, I activate the Troll Champion heroes, and they swing away at the one remaining archer. Might as well. I got to deal with these guys, right? So I swing at him. He's, again, another boxcars to hit. With Weapon Master, I gack him all day. So the mercenary unit in the forest is now dealt with. And thanks to Overtake, because I still have the hero in the command range, he moves up an inch, and that's about it. Next up, the Boom Howlers, that's what they are. They activate. I give them their 4-up tough because there's no reason to give them anything else. These guys don't need to stand up, and they are not going to benefit from the terror check. And so I just move them in. They get. I didn't even bother with the charge order because there's no point. I just move them in. That's it. Again, I'm not trying to destroy this unit. I am simply trying to keep this unit over here so that he can't run over and reactivate the jack. He can't interfere with this assassinations or anything like that. So I start swinging away at the bad guys now, and for the most part, I don't do a ton. I need 6s to hit. I do hit this one. It's PNS, I believe, 12, and I do a significant amount of damage. He does take a tough check and fails, so I kill that guy all day, which is very nice. Next guy attacks and hits, which is very nice. It's dice -3. I do enough damage to force a tough, and he makes his tough check, so he just gets knocked down. I know it's not, you know, orthodox to just knock your model down, but it's a friendly game, and we're having fun. Dice -3. After one of my dice fly off the table, I end up forcing the second tough check. Or actually, it's not the tough check. That guy ends up. He's the character, I think. So he takes, or a character. So he takes like 3 or 4 points of damage. Not enough to kill him, but definitely enough to make him think about the grave, which is very nice. Again, I don't care. Just as long as he's keeping these guys at bay, that's all I care about. So this guy needs to hit, and he misses. Next guy attacks. Or they do a combined range or a combined melee attack on a guy, needing a 4, and they hit. And then dice -1. They do enough damage to force the tough check, and he makes it. So just a couple. One guy's dead, and the other 2 get knocked down. So not really bad. And with that, that is the end of my turn. Super effective, in my opinion. So during his maintenance phase, not a whole heck of a lot, obviously nothing to upkeep or anything like that. I believe he puts 3 focus on the knockdown Light Warjack in the forest there. That's just to recap, his movement is knocked down. I'm pretty sure that's it. He puts, I think, 3 focus on him, and then he uses one to shake off the being knocked down thing, which is smart. And I don't think he's got any more on him than that. I don't honestly remember. But that's really it for his maintenance phase. There's nothing else for him to do. So his first act during his turn is to activate the character guy in his infantry unit, and he does Thresher. He does catch 2 of his guys, but I think he catches 3 of mine, 3 or 4, I can't remember. His first attack is against his own guy, his captain, I believe, and he hits, but he rolls for damage actually really, really poorly, and I believe he just does, 1 point of damage to his captain. Yeah, like he forgets he's a weapon master, but it doesn't matter because he's really not. He rolls a 2 and 2-1, so he does like 1 point of damage to his captain. His captain has 1 hit point left when he's done. It was quite hilarious. Just goes to show you that even as a weapon master, you could possibly do like nothing to your damn unit. The next guy he goes after is his knockdown guy, and he hits him automatically. He does enough damage to kill him. He is not tough. Then he starts swinging around at my guys, and yeah, he hits 3 times, I believe, with his guys, or into my guys. Wounds all 3 times, and all 3 times I am tough. I'm sorry, he hits 3 times, he misses on the 4th. He misses Boom Howler with Snake Eyes, which is, again, thank you, Dice Gods, for being on my team. But yes, 3 tough checks made, and 1 just completely avoided with this Thresher attack. Gotta love the Boom Howler and company unit, don't you? So after his character or whatever does his Thresher attacks, And as you can see, 3 of my guys are knocked down, and Boom Howler's sitting pretty. He picks his guys up and I believe moves that guy. I think he's a banner or something like that, some sort of unit attachment. I don't remember. He's clearly still alive. He moves him up just to, I guess, get in command range of the rest of them. But then those guys stand up and they start swinging away at the Boom Howlers, and they have no problem hitting. They are still Weapon Masters, so they don't have, I think it's like dice -5, but with Weapon Masters they're going to wound. But again, I go on my tough, I don't know, like, spree, I guess. That's my 4th tough roll I've made. But now he starts swinging at the guys that are on the ground and stuff like that, and he gacks one. Well, that guy wasn't on the ground, but he finally... I do start failing tough rolls. He swings now at the guy that's on the ground, right next to the guy that just died. He auto-hits, does enough damage to force the tough check, and he dies a horrible death. So there goes 2. Not great, but again, that's what this whole purpose for this unit was, is in order to just eat wounds and keep this unit at bay. And to be perfectly honest with you, the Boom Howler unit has done extraordinary this game. He has killed enough of them now that I had to take a threshold check, but I made it no problem because Boom Howler's command is really high. But yeah, that was really it for that unit, and the Boom Howlers are in prime position to strike back and possibly even take them out next turn. So I'm excited about that. Next up, he activates his Witch's Coven, and he moves the ladies out the way so that they aren't as easily killed by my hero next turn, and pops his feet. So I think that means everybody in their area can't see any further than 5 inches in front of them, and all their shots auto-miss or something like that. I'm not 100% on that, but I know he pops his feet. Then they try to cast Stygian Abyss on the Trollkin champion hero there, the threat that's coming after him. And with the 1 dead, he needs higher than a 4, and he misses, which is huge. Once again, thank you, Dice Gods. This game would be going much, much differently had my opponent been able to roll average. So I'll take what I can get. But for the most part, that's all the focus that was on the ladies. And yeah, that's it for their turn. And now for the sad part of his turn. His remaining Light Warjack, it forced himself to get up during the maintenance phase. And then he limps out of the forest. He had just enough movement. As you can see, he's very carefully measuring it. But yes, he just has enough movement to get into within a ½ inch of my Impaler, who, if you recall last turn, took one hell of a punch in the mouth because Gunnbjorn was getting beat up by the big heavy jack that's now swimming. The focus that you see removed is the one that he used in order to stand up earlier. And he starts swinging away at the Impaler. His initial attack, I think he needed a 5 to hit, I believe. Yeah, needed a 5 to hit. And he swings away with his initial attack and misses. He rolls a 4. So, poor guy. I feel bad for my opponent. His dice have definitely been on my team this game. After a quick dispute on whether or not his arm was broken or not, which it was not, he was perfectly fine. I don't know if he doesn't get another attack with his other arm or what, but my opponent buys another attack and boosts it with the same arm that he used before. Needing a 5 once again to hit, he hits all day, and the damage is just straight damage. His PNS is the same as my armor. So he rolls straight dice and ends up doing, I think it's 5 points of damage to Spiral 6, leaving my poor Impaler with 3 points left. It's sad. As you can see, I show him. So what do you think he does? He buys another attack, and he boosts it, and he needs a 5 to hit, which any smart person would do. He hits all day, and as long as he can roll a 3, my Impaler's dead. He rolls way over a 3 and kills my Impaler. I do reave the Fury off of him, so that's something, but my Impaler has been impaled, and it's sad. But it was a noble sacrifice, all things considered. But that is it. That is the end of my opponent's turn. Now for me to get some much-needed revenge. So during my maintenance phase, I just gobble up the Fury off of Dozer, because he's the only one I have left. And I don't upkeep the wall. That's it. My maintenance phase is really quite basic. So due to the fact that they have their feet up and I can only see 5 inches in front of me, I just activate my hero first thing and I run them forward, run him into them. That way, if they try to move or something like that, he gets free strikes, unless they cast Ghost Walk, which honestly I didn't think about. Then I activate my remaining champions and they just run through the forest a little bit because I've just got to catch these guys as quick as humanly possible. And that's really it for the most part. I can't do anything during his feet turn because I can't see him. I can't even shoot at him because, you know, he's like invisible. So next up, I activate my Runesmiths. Again, they're proxied. I know, I've said it 100 times. And the idea here is they're going to try to knock this guy down, and then who's ever left is going to try to rockhammer him. Just to do some damage to him. Might as well. It's not like I'm going to do anything to the ladies. So that's what I decide to do. And I go for it. They end up, since his movement is boxed, he's like defense 7. So I knock him down. I also end up knocking down one of my champions, but oh well. And then the next 2 Runesmiths do Rockhammer. The first one, yeah, he does hit because dude's knocked down. I don't roll Snake Eyes. Unfortunately, I don't hurt him, and because it was like dice -5 or something like that, because it's POW 14. And everybody else, he does hit the 3 Runesmiths as well as the knockdown champion, but it's dice -8 or 9, and I'm not able to roll high enough to hurt any of my guys, which is really good. The second guy does the same thing. He hits with his Rockhammer, does 4 points to column 5, which is really, really good. And I'm not able to hurt any of my guys once again. So it's actually not a terrible roll, and I'm hurting that thing a little bit more. And with both his mechanics gone, he can't fix it or anything. So I'm happy about that. Now all I have to do is finish off his damn Warlock or Warcaster, and we're good. So next up, I activate Gunnbjorn, and I don't have anything to do with him at all. He can't get anywhere close. He can't see anything except for that mech that's within 5 inches of him. Although he's not in the command range, regardless, if he gets in the command range, you can't see him. And my hero's in base to base with him, so I don't want to shoot at him right now. So I shoot at the mech that's in the water. I hit, and then even boosting at dice -5, I roll a 4 or a 5 or something. I don't do any damage. Next, I activate what's called Dozer, and he just runs. He's going to try to get into this fight more so than he already has. And that's really it. With his feet up, there's really not a whole lot I can think to do. And for my final action of the game, or of the turn, because I just don't know what else to do, I'm out of units. I sacrifice 2 people's movements to stand them up, and then I sacrifice the last guy's action so he can just move. And I get in there. I'm trying to kill his captain. I think it's his captain that's over there. So I put Boomhowler and 2 other of his little buddies in there just to do the damage. You know, hopefully get enough pain on him that he fails his tough and he dies. Just because I don't want him in there anymore. And so I think I need like a 3 to hit, and I have no problem hitting whatsoever. And then I think it's like dice -2 or something like that for damage. Around there, because with combined melee attack or whatever, they do a serious amount of damage. I mean, the Boomhowler and company is a terrific unit. But thanks to my dice, you know, that can't always work. I do 2 points of damage to him, which is not enough to kill him, unfortunately. I think he's got 2 points left. The last guy that's in combat anyway, he swings away at a guy, hits all day, and then he's able to do like 5 points of damage to him, forcing the tough check, which he passes. So what can you do? I mean, that's what the game was supposed to be the whole time. But that's it. That's it for my turn. So my opponent, playing it cool as a cucumber, doesn't allocate any focus anywhere, just puts it out there. And then, real calm and collectedly, he tells me he's going to cast Ghost Walk. And I'm like, I forgot! And then they ran off the table. I was like, what do you mean you run off the table? They can do that? What does that mean? And he's looking at me and he's like, it means that they're off the table. And he starts trying to play the rest of the game. I'm confused, like, doesn't that mean that you've lost? He starts laughing at me and he goes, yeah, the game is over. I'm just messing with you. My opponent conceded the game but decided to throw me for a loop prior to the end. So there it is. It's a victory for Lord Tremendous, and it threw me off pretty bad. I may have won, but he definitely got the last laugh. But what an incredibly tough game, what a fun game, what an interesting game where we both learned a ton, and definitely a good time. So, all in all, I really did enjoy my first experience playing against the Cryx. Never seen him before, other than like online and stuff like that, but face to face, actually having to square off against him, it was something else, man. They had a lot of cool tricks and a lot of stuff. I'm just glad that I had the tools in order to deal with them, and I'm well aware the luck to deal with them. They are definitely a strong and dangerous army to face. There was at no point during this game where I was like, oh, I got this no problem. These guys are a joke. No, nothing like that whatsoever. And my opponent hasn't been playing them very long, but he played them, in my opinion, very well. And I actually kind of worry about the next time we face each other about just how much of a butt whooping I'm going to take. Really proud of Dozer and Smig when I was able to get them to double hand throw the mega Cryx jack thing into the water and shut it down completely. Oh my god, that was huge. Definitely saved my my Warlock and the game, because it was all but over. In fact, if it hadn't been for my opponent's poor dice rolling, the game should and would have been over. So I had a lot of luck in this one, and I'll take it. Better to be lucky than good any day, right? But I also really loved seeing that whole maneuver thing, throwing jacks in water, work from the other side of the table. It was nice that it actually worked with me instead against me for a change. But really enjoyed that, really was happy with that particular setup, and the fact that it all worked out. Boomhowler and co. did great too, holding on the left flank, going up against that crazy undead infantry that was just mutilating them, and just tough saving it the whole game. They did really well, and pretty much solidified their place in my army. I've already got them on order. Very pleased, very happy with the way the army is shaping up, and I don't see making a whole lot of changes. I'm still up in the air about like the Skinner and stuff like that, but he hasn't really had a chance to shine. So we'll see. He's only 2 points. I don't know what I'd do with him otherwise, but we will see. Time will tell. But all in all, this was actually a terrific game. I had a really good opponent, and I'm definitely looking forward to the rematch. But that's going to do it for this one, guys, number 17. As always, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or complaints, feel free to put them in the comment section below, and I will get back to you as quick as I can. But yeah, guys, thanks.